What's up? What's up, Survivor Now? How's it going? How's it going? In case y'all missed it, Randy, he saw what happened this episode and he wanted to go out drinking. He wanted to go out and have a big old time. So it is just the Will West and Cara show. Cara, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited to talk about this episode. I feel like this is gonna be a good one for the viewers, for us. It's just gonna be a good one.
It is unfortunate how Randy's not here though, because
It is.
I feel like of all the episodes for Randy to miss, this is the worst.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he planned this. He didn't want to be here for this.
I think because we know deep down that Michaela is actually a huge fan of Survivor Now, and because she texted me, she was like, "Will, I want to thank you for the work you've done. That Randy guy, he's about to get what's coming to him."
See, the two Michaela fans are here.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the one Troyzan fan is also here.
Yes.
It's just me and Jack Powell. Shout out to Jack and the Stock Watch team. So Cara, what'd you think about the episode? Was it a good episode? Straightforward? How was it?
Yeah, overall, I feel like it was a good episode. I wasn't expecting it to be a double, and I felt kind of bad that they kind of just glossed over Andrea going home. Like, that was like the first 5 minutes of the episode, and that was it. I felt bad.
I felt bad. It was weird. I think it makes sense because if Andrea's vote was as straightforward as it was shown, then it's like I kind of get it. But also, I feel like every other episode has been pretty straightforward, for a while, except for like the Aussie vote. But no, it's just weird this being an all-star season and for the game to not really, like, the characters haven't really popped as much as I think a lot of other all-star seasons, like Heroes versus Villains, strategy-wise, it is pretty straightforward once you hit the merge. It just gets carried by the characters and the players. I feel like this season so far, it's been carried by the strategy, but less so the players, which is unfortunate when you have big names like Sari and, future legends like Sarah Lucina. And poor Andrea, this is her third time playing, and she's witnessed some of the worst of Survivor. She was there for the what's his name? For the Zeke incident in the season, and then Brandon Hance and Cara Moen, and also Philip Shepard, Redemption Island. It kind of sucks, but
I mean, a good move, I would say, to get her out, but unfortunate that they went so quick by it.
Well, I think Andrea's vote out also makes sense with context of how she is as a player. I know you haven't. Have you seen any of her other seasons, Cara Moen or Redemption?
No, but I really want to, because I feel like, I don't know if this was the best. Was this the best showing of her? I feel like maybe not.
I'd say it's either this or Cara Moen. Redemption Island, it was probably her worst outing, definitely, because I mean, without spoiling too much, a lot of people just kind of goat for Rob. Cara Moen, I feel like, what's up, Chris Dixon, by the way? Welcome to the Stocks. I feel like Cara Moen and this season, it's like you see Andrea, she's not really like that great of a player. Like, she's never doing any one thing incredibly right. It's just a common belief with a lot of fans is that if you stick any player on any season, Andrea at least makes merge and at least makes it kind of far. And I think that's what makes her so threatening in a game. Because I feel like a lot of players, like in this season in particular, it's like I feel like Ty has a social game on lock. Sari has a social game on lock.
Yeah.
And even Sarah. I feel like Brad is more physically based. I feel like Troyzan isn't a slouch in the competitions. And then strategically, I mean, we had Zeke, who I think was a more strategic player.
Yeah, for sure.
And I had to talk as much. Cara, please talk over me. I do. I'm trying to like get in my inner Randy here.
You're doing great. I feel like this was a big episode. Also, I guess not to skip ahead, but to skip ahead for Sari.
Oh yeah,
she played a key part in this, and also and Sarah too, giving her advantage. Well, okay, I guess I don't want to skip forward. I have something else I want to talk about first. So I guess first is that Sarah gets Sierra's legacy advantage, which is huge.
Yep.
So that was big.
Huge win for Sarah.
Yeah,
Honestly.
that was huge.
Mhm.
Because she's a lock now in the final 5.
100%. The only thing with Sarah is that the start of the episode, and to really bring it full circle, I know we talked about Michaela going out, which
Yeah.
happens at the end, but it's weird the position Sarah is in, because the start of the first half of the episode, people are talking about Sarah, and people haven't really been talking about Officer Sarah the entire season. The only times we heard of it, it's just someone saying, "Oh, she's my number one. She's my number one." We've actually heard that numerous times. So at the last 2 episodes, I think Andrea said that Sarah was her number one. Sierra definitely said it as well. It's kind of interesting. That's the path the castmates are going, where everyone who's saying they're tight with Sarah and they love Sarah, they're going. Do you
Yep.
think that is a notch to Sarah's game with her jury management, or do you think that that's setting up Sarah for a dangerous endgame? Because if you're voting out all your allies at the final 6, where does that leave at the final 4? You know?
True. Yeah, I guess it all really depends how she goes about getting rid of her allies. Cause it seems like if Sierra was that upset with her, or if she
Mhm.
knows that whatever, then she wouldn't have given her her legacy advantage. You know, if you're upset with
No.
someone for voting you out, you're not gonna help them out in the game. I doubt.
Oh, 100. I mean, not
So
just that too, but oh, sorry for cutting you off. I don't know what's going on with me. Normally, I'm like the foil character here. This is weird. Never start a podcast, guys. Cara, don't join any other podcast. I know you do your own podcast. Don't, no more. It's just interesting because I feel like this season's been different. I think
mhm.
I've been thinking about Survivor, the original All Stars, and I feel like a lot of returnee seasons for a while they felt more personal. I feel
Mhm.
like we think of the original All Stars, that was very bitter, very a lot of problems with that season. And then Micronesia, there's some bitterness there with how Ozzy was at the final tribal council. HVV2 that really talked about jury management and how you shouldn't just betray your allies and betray people just to betray people. I feel like this season has been the opposite. And I've talked about this before, but I feel like Survivor 30s, it's very resume based, very big move based. And
Mhm.
that's kind of, no, I don't want to say meta, but that's kind of how it was for a while. And so
Yeah.
it's, to me, it's very interesting seeing it. And I want to get your thoughts on that too. Like, when Final Tribal Council happens, do you think people are going to be more interested in the what happened in the game or how it made them feel? Because I think they're both very, very
Mhm.
valid when it comes
Yeah.
to jury management.
I think so too. I think the way that you feel and how you feel like someone treated you in the game is a huge part of where your where the final where your final vote goes in the end. But
Yeah.
I feel like with this cast, and we even hear it even comes up at one point where they're talking about like, are you going to vote on gameplay? Or are you going to vote on, you know, how you feel about the person? I do feel like this group of people is more gameplay based,
Yeah.
and like they're going to vote on how you played the game, how the moves are made, like what did you do,
Oh, yeah.
and instead of, oh, you blindsided me, like I'm not voting for you.
I think both methods too are completely valid. I think that's
Mhm.
what makes Survivor so hard. Is
Yeah.
you have to know what you can do to people. I think Sarah
Mhm.
knew she could manipulate Sierra into voting her out.
Yeah.
In the same way, I don't really see like, I feel like if Michaela, I hate to bring up Michaela and just dogpile on Michaela, but like imagine if Suri made that move towards Michaela, if Michaela had the legacy. Like, does Michaela still give Suri the legacy? Or does she give it to like Aubrey or just someone random on a whim? And
Mhm.
what I also want to know is, how would you vote, Karen? Would you vote strategically or socially?
Ooh. I I feel like I would vote strategically unless like I guess some crazy circumstances happened where like I really felt like hurt by the people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to think I would vote based on gameplay and vote that way for like the best winner that way.
That's fair.
What about you? What would you do?
I am very big. I think the way I word it a lot in like the online survivors I do, it's just who had the biggest impact on me socially. Because I
Yeah.
feel like in my world, the perfect player at its core, you just have to not get any votes against you, and you have to get every single jury vote. And I feel like the way you'd get my jury vote is just by being my friend and making me want to root for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's either the easiest jury vote you could get or the absolute hardest, depending on how you were with me. Because I've like if my friends at the final tribal council did nothing the entire game, I want to give them that one jury vote as a boost to him or boost to them. And if there's a player who played like the most flawless strategic, like a Tony Vlachos winners at war game, and but like did not talk to me a single time, I feel like I'd vote for my friend, you know.
No, that's valid because why are you gonna want to vote for someone that never spoke to you in the game, never tried to work with you, like didn't bother with you? Like you're definitely more inclined to vote for someone that actually was working with you, someone you got close with, you know.
Oh yeah.
I think that's so valid.
It doesn't even have to be strategic. And I think I'm just thinking about Final Tribal Council because there's an online survivor I was doing, and the final vote just happened, or like the final tribal council, and so now it's final tribal council, and like all the jurors are talking, and I'm like, I'm voting for my friend, guys, with a little heart.
Yeah.
But back to the
valid. Yeah. It's a valid way of thinking though. Like if someone isn't talking to you, you have no reason to vote for them.
That's my survivor hot take is every winner is a deserving winner. I think Fabio played like the biggest Will West game. I think Gabler played the best game of 43. It's just knowing not the best game, but like he played the game that fit the cast.
Yeah, and like even if one person didn't try and work with you or talk to you at all, like that's something wrong with their game, you know, where the other person did do it or whatever, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And so we get to the first challenge though, of the first part of the episode.
I liked this one.
It's a classic. Like there's so many cool moments that happen in seasons past, but it's the challenge. I'm trying to find the name of the challenge. It's called Teeter Tower. That's what it was. Basically, you have one arm that's balancing the little square. And you have to stack the little blocks to reach the top. And do you know who wins? Because I know. Do you remember?
Like in this episode?
Yeah, the challenge.
Who challenge? Aubrey?
No.
Wait.
Nah, it was Aubrey. I'm just messing up.
I'm like... my God. Yeah.
And this is also Aubrey's...
like 6 minutes. Quickest time.
This is also Aubrey's first immunity win too in her 2-season run so far. So big ups to Aubrey. I think this is her second season. Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
Big moment for her.
Big moment.
You know.
Evan. She does her best. She's the one player that I feel like nothing goes right. And it sucks because we haven't really heard from Aubrey the entire season until the second half of this episode. And we'll get to that a little later. And then we get to we go back to camp, and it's very, very brief, right? Like Andrew's name's out there. Brad Culpepper's name was out there. But weirdly enough, no one's really saying Sarah's name despite what happened just 20 minutes prior. You know, with everyone like saying, hey, Sarah's jury management was weird. She was weirdly close. Well, why did she do that? You know, do you think that was a plus to Sarah's game, or do you think that was just people letting bygones be bygones and more so focusing on another player? Or both?
Yeah, it was interesting that like they really like picked up on the way Sarah was at the last tribal council, but I think at this point they're probably thinking like we need Sarah, like Sarah's good for us. There's no point in taking her out yet. So
I think that's also just another boost of like why I feel like she's able to get away with voting out Sierra and voting for Andrea is because she's voting out her allies, other closest allies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like by voting out Sierra, she was able to kind of get closer with like Brad. Or she's able to set up that bridge if she wants to cross that bridge. By voting out Andrea, like obviously she was always close with Suri, but I feel like that just makes her even closer because, you know, if people want to vote out Sarah, it's like, what numbers would they have? Because do we see Brad and Troyzan working with Michaela? Probably not.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, Sarah's like really well positioned.
Yeah. And
at this point, which it's crazy.
Oh yeah. And we're hearing about it from everyone else. Like I feel like we're not really hearing a lot from Sarah individually. Like there's not really a confessional that pops out except for like some shenanigans that happen later on with a certain steal a vote. We'll get to that when we get to that. But it's a weird how, like we always talk about how Survivor, you know, can't do social games and how like whenever someone's playing under the radar in social, it's like Survivor never picks up on it. They're picking up on it now. Like if you really read between the lines and how everyone's talking about Sarah, it's like everyone's saying that Sarah is their number one or close ally or someone they need, which is interesting because I wouldn't have pictured that in like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, you know?
No. Like I honestly go back to episode 2. Is this the final 8 you thought of?
No, I was thinking like this is such an interesting group of people going into this next episode. Like who would have thought?
Especially the finale. I was about to read it in the order in which they got voted out because I haven't booted up on my computer here. That would have been rough.
From the beginning?
No, like I had the final 6 at the wiki page, just because I like to get the refreshers like whenever I could. But yeah, no,
it's an interesting group, and also like very interesting how many advantages are still out there. Like Troyzan still has his idol, Ty still has his 2 idols, and the legacy advantage that Sarah.
The legacy advantage,
crazy.
It is. It's. I think it's a little dangerous. And I don't think anyone anticipated the lack of advantage plays. I feel like again, it's like you think of game changers. I'm thinking like high octane. Like I'm thinking back to the Malcolm vote. You know, like how crazy and chaotic that vote was. Like I'm thinking of that every single round, and it's been really tame.
Well, Sari tried this episode to do. She tried to do something.
Not at the first tribal council where we see Andrea go like really quietly. Is there anything of note from that tribal council that you want to go off on before we get to like the second half?
Not really. Just that I feel bad that it was like so quick. I feel like if I was on Survivor and that was how my episode went, my boot episode, I feel like I'd be a little disappointed that it was just like 5 seconds and we have like this next exciting part. I don't know. But also it was interesting that Aubrey says like she has high highs and low lows in the game. Like she just won immunity, but then her friend goes home. So, or she's left out of the vote, you know? So that was an interesting moment.
Do we hear about like Andrea and Aubrey being close? Like,
I know. I feel like they didn't really show that much.
Yeah, maybe because of
weird.
This is the weirdest season of Survivor, I think, because of just how
it's such a weird season.
Like nothing makes sense. You know, why is Tony Vlachos the second boot? Why did Malcolm come back? Why is Caleb in Game Changers? So many weird decisions.
They were robbed.
Caleb, I think Malcolm was definitely robbed. How did Debbie outlast JT, Malcolm, Tony, Sandra, Debbie? She beat all those players. You know, it's funny when I talk to Troyzan, right? I remember him talking about Game Changers. He's like, "Yeah, I beat Tony and Sandra." I was like, "You go off, King."
He's killing it, and you know what? We barely even see him, but he's doing great. He's not on anyone's radar.
he's just happy to be there, bro. But yeah,
they're idle in pocket.
Idol in
Getting pretty.
pocket, long hair showing, not a care in the world, bro. If
And
I was ever on
idols. Oh,
what's that?
sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
go ahead.
No. Say what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say if I was ever on Survivor, I'd be a cross between that and Fabio, like just
Mm,
long hair, hanging out.
just chill.
Anywho, that's besides the point. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say idols stop at final 5.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So
So
interesting to see if they're gonna play it. If they're gonna play their idols, or if they're gonna hold them, and be like, I didn't need to use it.
it would be crazy though if everyone had an idol at the final 5 and everyone played it. Is
What would
that
happen?
probably rocks if I had to guess.
Oh, wait. Everyone has an idol, plays it, and they would still go to rocks.
Because at a certain point, it's like if everyone's safe, no one's safe, or they just cancel tribal.
Yeah.
Bring back Survivor Pagong, where they tried voting out Jeff Probst, episode 1. Shout out to you, Pagong tribe. But yeah, no. Going back on topic here, I know we love to go off the beaten
Going
path.
off tangents.
Tribal happens, and Aubrey's saying, how she is having this emotional roller coaster, goes from high highs to low lows, and then we see Ty go up to Aubrey, and he's just comforting her. It's a very classic Ty move, and this gets a lot of negativity from especially Sari, but a lot of people, they pick up on Ty kind of going to Aubrey, who's very upset. Do you think that this is Ty being very natural, just very like Ty being himself, very genuine, or do you think this is Ty playing a social game or a mixture of both?
I think it's just Ty being Ty. I don't think he's like going out there and putting on a different persona, like pretending to just care about people. I think that's just how Ty is. I think he saw that Aubrey was sad and he was like, this is my friend, I'm gonna comfort her, I think that was just what it was. What do you think?
I think it's, I don't think it was intentional, like an intentional game move, but I always think that like your personality can be your strategy. A recent example I think is Carolyn from 44, where I feel like her being very weird and being open and very out there was a major draw for a lot of players, especially like Carson and Jam Jam, part of the TK3. I know she didn't really find a lot of success, during Final Tribal Council, but I always think that like who you are can be your strategy, even if it's genuine. Like, I don't think Ty is fake, but I do think that Ty being Ty is a very valid strategy, especially if the season was a little more emotional, like the original Survivor All-Stars, or even Heroes versus Villains,
Totally. Like if Ty gets the end and people are thinking like how they felt when Ty was like comforting them or what Ty did for them, I feel like that would definitely earn him some votes for sure.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I could see that being a winning, like we've seen that before.
Like with Kenzie, like we saw, she's a good example of how she treated people and how they felt, and that was a reason they wanted her to win in the end.
I know I bring him up a lot, but Fabio, without spoiling too much, there's a certain player who, was struggling a lot. She wasn't allowed to bring proper clothing, like nothing to like cover up during the maroon season, or not maroon, monsoon season in Nicaragua. And Fabio, all he did was just give her his jacket. All he did, and she voted for him. It's one of those small things. Or even more classic example, Penner, when he got voted out in Cook Islands, all he asked for was his hat. And what did Yul Kwan do? Brought him a little hat. Brought him his little hat. And Yul Kwan won. It's
the little things.
It's the tiniest things. Obviously, Yul Kwan had a lot more strategy. Fabio, that was pretty much it. But like, it's those little tiny maneuvers that I think allows players like Ty to win the game. Obviously, we've never really seen a player like Ty, but it like if the jurors were robots, like Ty wouldn't have a chance. But because the jury is full of people, like Ty's stocks are a little higher than like some other people. You
Yeah,
know.
definitely. I think
Anywho,
so. And I mean, I think Ty is also like playing, like, you know, he goes
yeah,
out and looks for idols. He has two, which is like huge.
insane.
And he might not even need to use them to get to the end, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I guess they're kind of like looking at him now. So he might, I actually thought he probably should have used one this episode, but he
Yeah.
didn't have to, you know?
Nope. And that
So,
just is a good read from Ty. Like,
yeah.
I like when I think of like strategy, I always call players either passive or active because I don't want to call them like, but even passive is such a negative word. Like, I don't want to diss Ty because Ty is not a heavy strategist. Ty is not
Mhm.
backstabbing anyone or like calling shots, but that doesn't mean Ty isn't playing the game. He's just playing it in a very Ty way.
Yeah.
Um, and I
I
think that
mean, yeah.
is wonderful for Ty because like it's what makes Survivor so again compelling. It's what makes me a big fan of the show is because
Mhm.
anyone can play the way they want to play and find their own success.
I mean, he did vote out Caleb.
He did vote,
So,
but Caleb also won 5-1, and it's just one of those things. Obviously, Ty is not like wholesome and like will do no harm
yeah.
because those players don't win. Claire, I feel like if you ever played, I feel like you'd be like a heartless villain, ice queen, just
Me.
backstabbing people. I could see through the wavy hair and smile, dog. I I
Oh, I
think you're
don't
the biggest
know.
villain.
The biggest villain. Wow. Well, I
Yeah,
guess we'll just have to find out when I get on Survivor one day.
I can't wait to see you on Survivor 50, dog. It'll be a good time. When you're famous, don't forget about us.
Never. Can never.
Anywho, I think that was mainly it for like the little tribe camp life
Yeah.
scene. Because then we have the next challenge, which is called Vertigo. This is also not a classic challenge. Actually, it has appeared a few times.
I liked
Um,
it.
it's always a fun. It's always a great challenge. I like the most Kagayan because of what happened last time.
I like so far I feel like this season I've been like kind of liking like almost every challenge. And I never really
Yeah.
even care about the challenges, but I've really like I'm like taking note of them. I'm like, oh, I like this was good.
Oh yeah. Like I think because we're so. What's the other word of spoiled? We're so like bogged down by New Era Survivor. I love New
Yeah.
Era a lot.
Me too.
But I will defend the critique that the challenges haven't been the best. They've been better recently. They've been bringing back like Last Gasp and whatnot.
Yeah.
But a lot of these challenges, I mean, they are kind of like you do a thing into a puzzle and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But Vertigo is always a fun challenge.
Yeah.
Basically, the gist of the challenge is you stand on a pole, you have to get water inside a tube, and then once you get enough water, you grab a key, hop off, swim to the shore, and do a puzzle. Very simple, but very challenging. Do you
Yeah.
think you would do well in this challenge, Cara? Because I would.
I don't know. I feel like the scariest part for me would be like having to jump off the pole and get in the water.
I
I
would.
feel like
I
it'd be
would. I would
scary.
climb. I'd climb somewhat down.
You would
I
climb down, yeah. I guess
because
I would
like
probably just climb down if possible. I
oh
don't
yeah,
know.
just climb down to a certain extent. I just know there's like 185 pounds of just guy hopping into that water. Do you know how painful that sounds?
You're right. That's true. I guess
Like, I
true.
know your situation might be a little different. I know, I think our body types are a little different, Cara. But
Yeah.
I just imagine splashing into that water and just how painful that'd be.
Yeah, no. You can't do that.
Not one bit.
No.
And we see Brad Culpepper, Mr. Culpepper. He wins the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and he is oddly not happy. Or no, he's happy, but he celebrates a little.
He was a little like angry.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think Danny did the same thing in Survivor 44 as well, right? Where he wins a challenge and starts yelling at people for no
Yeah.
apparent reason. And
Yeah.
that it's weird because I feel like we haven't really heard about Brad Culpepper's like social standings with a lot of people. I feel like he is physically first, like a physical player first, and then strategic. And I feel like we haven't heard from him a lot, but
Yeah,
he
no.
seems like one of those players who gets in great with his alliance, where his allies will, individually they all love Brad Culpepper, but then it's like outside of his alliance, like who is he like really close to? So anyone who's close with Brad, they're close to them strategically, like Troy, Zan, Sierra, even
Mhm.
Ty. Everyone else, it's like, do you think Michaela and Brad are getting along on the day to day on the island?
They're probably not even interacting. Oh, well, I guess we kind of see like after the challenge. Oh, wait, no. Oh, this was when was this? Was this the first one when Michaela goes up to him and she's like, "You should go fishing."
Oh
And
yeah,
she's telling him to go fish and get them fish and he's like, "I'm not going to do that." Like I feel like that was probably one of their only interactions for
that's
days.
that's just a microcosm of their interaction. I can only imagine what Randy would say, like, Michaela, one of the worst players I've ever seen. Granted, I haven't seen MVGX, but like, and I'm like, Randy, calm down. But yeah, no,
She just wanted to eat, you know? She just wanted someone to get her food.
can't blame her, dog, because it's like she got yelled at so much pre-merge for taking the sugar, something she never
Mhm.
even did. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I can't
Mhm.
blame. I'd be pissed off too if I was Michaela. I'd be like, you know what, Brad Culpepper, get us some fish.
Yeah.
Uh,
Go
I can't,
fishing.
I can't remember if that was like before or after the first or second challenge.
I think it was before because I think that was when they were maybe going to vote him out.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I forgot to take my notes on. My
Mhm.
very notable thing. I mean, it was a small interaction. I don't really think. I think it led to the Michaela vote out. I think that was like the smallest thing because the edit again very
Yeah.
weird. But Brad wins the challenge. He's freaking out. He's like, "Oh, pick someone else, people. Do this, that, the
Mhm.
other thing." And then gets to the beach, and we're hearing Aubrey pitch out a name for the first time all season, I think. Aubrey really wants Ty gone. She tells us this to Sari. And then an immediate jump cut to Sari talking to Sarah. Again, this is Sarah's social game at work because
Yep.
a lot of the information is getting sent back to Sarah across a lot of different sides in the game. If you were Sari, right, and you just assume that Sarah's your number one still, do you go with this idea of wanting Ty gone, which is what we saw Suri do eventually in the episode, or do you want another plan? And will you go to Sarah and say, "Hey, you know, Aubrey wants Ty gone. I don't want Ty gone." This is also off the heels of Aubrey winning a challenge for the first time, which could happen
Mhm.
again. So, like, what do you do in
Yeah.
this scenario?
Uh, I mean, if Sarah's my number one, I'm going to probably talk to her and tell her like this. But then I also feel like this would have been a good opportunity to just get Aubrey out.
Oh yeah, but the problem is, it's like we don't know how tight or how crazy Aubrey is as a player because like we don't hear from her ever.
I know, like, who is she with now?
She
Like,
was with Andrea,
Andrea.
believe
Well,
it
I
or not.
guess, yeah, now she's like with no one. So I guess she's just a free agent. I guess she has Ty. Well, no, she wants Ty
She
out.
wants Ty
So it's
gone.
like,
So I think that was the logic with Saruri wanting Ty gone as well because I think she sees Aubrey as a number
yeah.
to pick
I
up.
mean, I think Ty going also would have been good.
I think so too. I think because the problem with Ty is that he's not a physical player.
Yeah.
I don't see Ty really winning all. I mean, he's won challenges, but
Hmm.
I feel like he is good at a certain type of challenge that we might not really see a whole lot going down, especially like the final six, final five route. So no one's really going to want Ty gone because he's just a jury threat who could maybe hang on a pole for a while. And
Yeah.
so because no one would want him gone, I think that would be a perfect like Sari-esque move to want to go for that number. Because sometimes it's worth going after the person on the bottom of the totem pole, you know?
Yeah. And
But we don't see that. Oh,
and like Ty is close to Brad. Like that's someone that
Mhm.
Brad has. So another way to just weaken Brad a little bit by getting Ty out. Weaken, like she sees, like Suri is saying, like I see Ty and Aubrey talking, like that's a potential
Mhm.
pair. Weaken that. Unknowingly get out two idols, you know.
Yeah, I think we also are just spoiled by knowing Ty has two idols. Because I don't
Yeah.
think he told anyone about his two idols. At least not yet in the game. And
Yeah.
so, obviously Ty's a much bigger threat to us. And
For sure.
then we see Suri and Sarah, they talk. Because Sarah has an extra vote. And she wants to give it to Suri for seemingly no reason. Just to build
Yeah.
trust. Which doesn't make sense because Suri already trusts Sarah. I don't get why. But this sets off a really weird chain of events where Sarah gives the extra vote to Suri. Suri then gets her Suri brain working. She's like, hey, I should tell Ty about this advantage because then Ty would trust me. I would steal Sarah's vote to then vote out Ty. And on paper, I think this move makes sense. Do you think this move makes sense? Because I think it makes kind of sense.
I think it made sense. I mean, I don't know if she needed to tell Ty. I think she could have just done the same thing without telling him.
I
But
think
I mean, I guess I understand why she did it, just to build that trust, make him feel okay that it's not going to be him.
I think it was to play around the idea of Ty had an idol, he would use it because it's looking kind of perilous. And so the idea is she goes to Ty like, hey, you have nothing to worry about. And if you like, you could screw me on this. And like I see the full logic. And I think that is where the whole camp life ends. And then we go to tribal council where you get your regular tribal council deliberation. Jeff Probst is like, guys, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And Troy Zan's like, Jeff, doing good. Living the dream with monkeys in my backyard. Real thing, by the way. Look up Troy Zan on Instagram. He's doing good for himself. Let me tell you.
Good for Troy Zan.
I love Troy Zan so much, dude. And so regular tribal council. And then, very end, they're about to vote. And Suri, she speaks up. She's like, guys, there's some snakes here. And I want the people who I trust to wake up tomorrow morning and thank me. And she steals Sarah Lucina's vote, to which Sarah Lucina says, hey, that's my vote. You can't do that.
Yeah, Cara. That was so unfortunate. Suri was really cooking. She was really like hooking up something.
That was
it would have been great if it worked. Yeah.
That was like that's because that also, if that did work, that'd get Ty gone. That'd get Ty out, almost immediately. I don't think anyone knew that Michaela's name was really out. I think going into it might have been Aubrey, Ty, maybe. I think that would have made sense. Which is why Suri ended up voting for Aubrey anyways. I don't really know. And I know you know a little bit about the season, right? I know you haven't ever seen it. Did you know this was happening until before the episode?
The whole Suri thing?
Yeah, the whole Suri, like.
No, I had no idea about any of this.
How did you feel any secondhand embarrassment through Suri? Because I did.
Every time I watched it. All she had to do was read it.
All she had, it makes, because Suri is such a brilliant player, right? When we think of the best to never win, it's pretty universally agreed it's Suri, right? There's some Amanda Kimmel fans out there. I'll give you guys your flowers. There's some, I'm sure you can say some other people, but it's hard to not say Suri Fields,
Yeah.
With how her legacy was from Panama to now. This was easily Suri's worst or Suri's biggest blunder, I'd say. Which is spectacular given that she's played 2 seasons till, the final 4. And then HVV where she was cooking until, Tom Westman decided to idle her out. which I can't even blame her for. And if you were Suri, how would you like backpedal in this scenario?
Oh my gosh, I feel like it'd be so hard, and it was so embarrassing that Jeff made her read it out loud. I feel like there was nothing good for her in that moment. Like, Sarah's mad that you're trying to use her advantage that she trusted you with. Like, you're in such a bad position. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just say, let's vote Suri out.
That surprised me too, because I remember when I first got into Survivor, I'd watch a lot of clips, right? I remember watching Eagle Turtle's like cringeworthy Survivor moments, and I had no idea who Suri was. I remember watching that clip though. I'm like, who is this lady? Why is she doing this? Did she not read? Is she? I thought Suri was the worst Survivor player from that moment. So I didn't know any better. I didn't know who Suri was. I just thought she was just some lady like trying to break the rules here. And I'm surprised she stayed and she survived. But I also see why, because despite her trying to steal Sarah's vote, she believed it was for Sarah's benefit. She believed that tie going was great for Sarah's game because she didn't know that Sarah was playing both sides.
Right.
And chaos ensues. I actually took notes that Sarah goes to tie, just says something. We don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then Suri goes to Sarah, trying to like whisper sweet nothings. And then we see Michaela. She joins the group. And then behind Michaela, good old Troyzen, he just wants to know what's up. Dog, I don't think he's like really been there for a lot of strategy talk. So he's trying his best to like go up. He's just getting yelled at by Michaela.
I felt so bad for him. Like he probably just wanted to know, like, should I play my idol? Like, am I good?
Like probably wanting to just be a part of the group, bro. Like he's probably that guy in the school dance, just kind of off in the bleachers.
Aww.
Just like on his phone, waiting for a girl to like come up to him. Never happened.
Aww, Troyzen.
Poor Troyzen.
Randy would have been going off about this if he was here.
Yo, Randy, I really wish Randy was here. I really wish we had Randy like give a monologue, the same one you gave with your hot takes.
We need his input on this. Moment, on this episode.
I think if we edit this podcast and upload it to anywhere, we just need like a jump cut to Randy being like, "All right, guys, what is up, Survivor now? This is Randy Bruce here to tell you about Michaela Bradshaw, one of the worst players to ever play the game." I don't know what impression I'm doing. That's not Randy Bruce. But
close enough. Welcome back, Randy. Welcome.
Thank you. Now, if I was Michaela, right, and she got her way, let's just say like Ty went, right? Because Michaela and Aubrey, they both voted Ty. Ty went. How do you think that looks to the jurors? Because like Troyzen, he might have been in the wrong. Obviously, it's annoying to have someone not in your lines try to hear what you're saying. I get that. But if I was Troyzen and I was either on the jury or like another finalist next to Michaela, I would use that against her. I'd be like, Michaela didn't even let this happen. Like, she flipped the lid. Like, I'd use what Randy's been saying about Michaela. Obviously, I'm a big Michaela fan. Shout out to you, Michaela Bradshaw.
Yeah.
But how do you think that looks in front of a jury? Because this isn't just happening at tribe camp or at a challenge. This is tribal council where everyone sees this happening and hears this happening. Like, do you think this is good for the Michaela stocks? Or would have been good?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that was the best, especially when like something so crazy is happening. Like, you don't want to make people now mad at you. So I think she definitely could have went about it in a different way. She could be like, Troyzen, like, give us a second. We'll talk to you in a second. But like, just step back for a minute. We're just going to talk, not good. And it could have changed the outcome of what happened at the tribal council if she didn't do that. I don't know if that like was part of it, why she went, but it could have made things different.
Yeah, it was just weird because I don't know. It's just nothing about it made any amount of sense because it's like, why react that way when you want Ty gone? You
Yeah.
know, because it's not that Brad was the motive. Because I feel like you could have like maybe we talked Troyzan may have been like, hey, Ty was saying this, that, the other thing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't believe him until now, or we didn't believe him and we didn't want to say anything because we didn't want to spoil anything. But now that it's out in the open,
Yeah.
or Sari could have been like, hey, Troyzan, I wanted to work with you. I just knew Ty was good with your circle, but I knew he was playing both sides. I tried stealing the vote, did not work out, and now I actually need you to vote with us. It's just something like a lie or something instead of just go away. I don't want to talk to you.
That could have been a big moment, a big bonding, coming together, teaming up moment. Do you have the votes in front of you of who voted for who?
I do actually. It's a 4-2-1. It was almost a legendary, iconic 3-2-1. But it wasn't. Basically, Brad, Sarah again, and Troyzan voted Michaela. Actually, it was not going to be a 3-2-1. I lied. I forget that Ty lost his vote. And then there's 2 votes on Ty, which was Aubrey and Michaela, and 1 vote for Aubrey from Sari. What do you think Sari was doing with the Aubrey vote? Because I don't know.
That was weird. I don't know.
It was
maybe she was just throwing it. I don't know.
I think maybe she was. I could see her throwing it for like just in case, like if something happens, double idol play. I think because it was known that Ty's name was out there, and now that vote, I don't know.
I mean, the Ty thing still could have happened because he didn't end up playing an idol anyway.
Yeah.
And Sari probably wasn't gonna I doubt she would have voted Michaela out.
No.
So I think it was probably a safety. Like, if something happens, Aubrey goes.
Despite it not happening yet, we've seen in Survivor where like 1 vote makes the difference. And I think Sari, knowing it was game changers with people who know a little bit more strategy than some Joe Schmo, probably wanted to play around just in case, which is totally fair. Yeah. Or it could also just be jury management, not voting for Michaela. That way, because come final tribal council, I see Michaela being a lock for Sari. I don't see Michaela voting for anyone else.
Yeah. Well, do you think Sari knew that Michaela was going to be the vote at that point?
I don't think we'll know until next episode. I think I think it was set up to where, because of what was happening at tribal council that we didn't pick up on. Like, I don't know what Sarah told Ty. I don't know a lot of the conversations outside of Sari and Sarah and Michaela and Troyzan. And I could see next episode starting. I could just see the next episode starting with Sari
and
going
talking about it.
Yeah, like how this episode was. It's at the start where everyone was talking about Sarah Lucina.
Yeah.
Really going hard with the jury management. I could see next episode Sari being like, hey, that jury management that everyone's freaked out about with Sarah Lucina, I did that better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just again thinking about like this group of people and like where they go from here. We see like a preview of the episode. I guess I'm skipping forward again, but like, of Ty, I guess, talking about his idols and telling people, which is interesting. But like, still, like this group just seems so random, and that people are working together, but like not really. Where it's kind of fluid, where you could probably work with other people and like you can make something happen. Just such an interesting group to me.
It's like, I feel like this is a Brant Steele come alive. You ever use Brant Steele, like the Survivor season generator? Like, who pictured Sari Fields the same season as Troy? Like, if you watch I'll just say Micronesia for Sari, because I think that's her most legendary performance. And then you watch Survivor One World, or like, do you ever go like, I should really put Sari Fields and Troy's together? Or like, go back to even One World, like Monica Culpepper. Let's put her husband next to Sarah Lucina.
Yeah. Even
I
like
know.
I was thinking, like, isn't it crazy? Like Michaela was here with them. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought?
Like imagine MVGX happening and Michaela goes and you're like, huh, she was a cool little player that just happened. And then
Mhm.
next season, she's on a tribe with Tony Vlachos and
Like,
Sandra Diaz-Twine, and she's working with Sandra Diaz-Twine.
yeah,
Like she's working with Sarif. Like that is
who
such a
would have thought?
crazy, like, crazy pipeline. You know,
And for her to make it really far too.
I
And even when like she was talking in her little like after she was voted out thing, her confessional, like she didn't really even seem like that upset. She kind of almost seemed flattered that people didn't want her there, like that they thought she was a threat.
yeah,
I don't know if she was just like saying that to make herself feel better, but still, I feel like that was an interesting way for her to like talk after that, as opposed to maybe being upset, maybe being mad that that happened. It's
I
a
just think
different
Michaela.
Michaela.
Oh yeah, no, I like because it's like we get Michaela yelling at Troyzan, and then right after we get like sincere final words. I just think I
Mm-hmm.
think the thing with Michaela is that she's just a huge competitor, and I think she wears her emotions on her sleeve,
Yeah.
and it's either a big turnoff or people really resonate. Like I think Suri really resonated with Michaela for that reasons. I mean, Suri said she was the same way when she was younger, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I even Chris Dixon, I know I haven't really been showing comments a lot, but he's like, yeah, I think that she was like that because she knew she wasn't really winning and made it less tough. And
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that kind of growth can lead into. I know we're not talking about Survivor 50, and I wouldn't even say she's Survivor 50 worthy, not yet because of her original
Ooh.
showing. But like, if there was another returnee season that wasn't Winners at War or Edge of Extinction, like if it happened at like Survivor 43,
Mm-hmm.
I could see Michaela like coming back and like really doing well. I haven't seen her
Yeah.
on the challenge, so I don't know. I could be dead wrong. I do
Mm-hmm.
apologize. I keep talking about Michaela on the challenge, but it's like I think she has a lot of potential for growth, and I think if she comes back and she does have growth, I could see a lot of people changing their minds
Yeah.
with Michaela. What do
Yeah,
you think?
like an older Michaela. She's done it a few times when she was young, comes back when she's a little older. I'm sure it would be a totally different experience and like a different thing that different Michaela we would see watching
Mhm.
her. I would like to see her come back too. Like even when she says in her little like her confessional thing, like guess she has to come back a third time to win. Like bring her back,
Bring her like
please. Bring her
like
back.
what is she doing so wrong? I think she's really good with confessionals, especially in
Mm-hmm.
her first season.
She
I
puts
also
on a show, you
she
know, those
does.
tribal councils, she was feeding into it. Like she was eating, she
Yeah.
was doing things that were like funny.
I
Yeah.
also think part of her problem too this season is just she played back to back, and I think the
Yeah.
lack of break. I don't think it was as crazy as Russell Hantz from Samoa to HVV because like
Hmm.
Russell Hantz, he only had 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
Also,
crazy.
I apologize, Chris Dixon. I'm very new to like controlling the podcast here. I'm not ignoring you. I have been reading the comments too.
Hmm.
I was going to do it at the end, um, but yeah, no. Like I
Yeah.
think that's also a good podcast episode for the off season. Is just players who we think could have growth. Because I also think
Yeah.
another big player that comes to mind is Xander from 41, who I
Hmm.
think
Oh, I'd
could
love to
play.
see him back.
I think he could play really well on like Survivor 50. Question mark.
Hmm.
If it wasn't
I
a
hope
legend
he is
season,
back
I hope he
at some
comes.
point. Yeah.
Not 50, definitely not 50. But he just seems like he was just a kid who just wanted to play hard, and I think
Yeah.
him coming back. Anywho,
And he had good moments too.
he
So,
had good moments, and Michaela had good moments,
yeah.
and I think is that it for the episode? The
I think
penultimate
so.
episode.
Yeah. So next week's the finale.
Next week is the finale.
That's crazy.
Did you think that this would
I'm
be the final six going into this season?
no. I don't even know where it's gonna go from here. I'm very interested to see how the finale plays out.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a very interesting time. I also
Hmm.
don't think Randy anticipated next week being the finale. because I know he said we'll have to double up on a day.
Yeah.
But I think this was the double up. I think Survivor doubled up for us.
Yeah, they did the work for us. Who knew?
But yeah, no. Going back to the comments too, Cara's a huge villain. Don't trust her. Angelina asking for Natalie's jacket to give it to her. I mean, that's pre-jury management. I don't think, like, if Angelina was the one staying in the game, Natalie was the one going out. I don't, And Chris, I do agree with this. Randy's not winning.
No.
At no point. I'm sorry, Randy, but I think
does he make jury? Oh
no.
No, not even jury.
I think Randy has a Mergatory boot written all over him.
Ooh.
I see Randy making Mergatory. Because I think Randy's the type of player where he would work really well in a small group. Because I think he would run a lot of circles. I think he'd just be too big of a threat and play too hard. I think I win, straight up. I think I win in a Fabio-esque manner, but that's just me.
Okay.
Do you think you do well in Survivor? Oh, thank you.
I think I'm gonna just say yes, but I also don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I see the losing finalist.
Losing finalist. Okay, at least I make it to the final. I'll take it.
I think here's what happens, right? I think you play the best strategic game we've all ever seen, but I think you really annoy the entire jury.
No.
And that's where I come in with my social game, my Fabio, and they're gonna be like, Will West, that's our guy.
I'll be like the 0 vote third finalist.
But they play the best. Like,
I know.
I'm sorry, but like
Jake, I love them.
Ben, Carolyn.
They're all really great.
Oh yeah. I think Owen, I don't think he played the best, but like I love Owen.
I liked Owen, yeah.
We just gassed up Xander for like an hour. And then we have Romeo, who, he was there. He played hard.
I was rooting for him in the end. I was like, you know what? I'd be okay with him winning.
And Will West defeats Eric East and Cara 710. Yeah, Abraham keeps like talking smack. I'm sorry, dog. Come back to me when you survive a tribal council.
No.
Just kidding, Abe. But yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Hey, at least he made it on Survivor.
That's better than all of us.
That's That's more than we could say.
Oh yeah, I'm about to submit my application soon.
Ooh, exciting.
But yeah, no. Cara, is there anything else you'd want to say?
I don't know. I think we carried this podcast very well. Like, I don't even think we need Randy for the finale.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, now that Michaela's gone, like, what can Randy say?
I know, he has nothing to talk about now.
Exactly. What? Oh, is he going to start bringing up Marianne now? I don't think so.
No. Well, I don't know. I thought this was good. I had fun. I'm looking forward to the draft coming up.
No, someone on Instagram said I want Bruce to win because he played for Abraham. Yeah, no, I never did good on the draft. My 2 seasons. My first season, I picked Hannah Rose.
Ooh. Well, I guess I can't say much. I picked the first boot last season, so.
That's, I mean, Jelinski at least had more promise than Hannah Rose.
And he was brought up the whole time, so like I support Jelinski.
But I will say, I still support Hannah Rose's mutual friend, whom I will not say on the podcast. But this friend recently threw together a birthday show that my band played at. Hannah Rose was not there, but there's still that mutual friend. So shout out to you.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's a shame how her and Sean Edwards both quit really early on.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say, Miss Cara?
I think that's it. Do you have anything to say?
No. It's just I think we're better than Randy.
I think so.
All right. I'll see y'all next week for the finale.
Bye.